Yeah, good evening. Welcome back. So today we are going to discuss about developing the Pyspark application. Okay, developing the Pyspark application in Pycharm. Okay, so I hope you people know about the Pyspark. What is the necessity of the Pyspark and all right. So let me give a glimpse of the Pyspark. As you all know very well, we have the today we are living in the modern era and we have to deal with a lot of data, right? A lot of big data. Like you can take the streaming channels like Hotstar, Netflix, Geo Cinema, whatever. Okay, you can observe 3 lakhs people are viewing. Oh, I mean 3 million people, something like that, right? So to handle those data, as well as today you can see at least out 10 out of 8 people have the Amazon and they created account out of those. Okay, and they are keep on and they will put the order, right? So those data as well as the flights, Indian Railways data, so all right. So there is some business use cases there, and we have to take the data and we have to process it. And we can expect that the Indian Railways data is very huge and the flight data is very huge, right? To handle those data, handling the data is nothing but we have to take the business requirement from the client and we have to process it. We have to do a couple of transformations and all and get the job done. So let us take, for example, I will give the one use case, right? You people are getting some coupons from the Amazon. Will the coupons are same for each and everyone? Definitely not. The coupons will vary from one person to other person. Apart from the seasonal, okay. Apart from the season. And that is all because of they will take your data and they will go through the orders you kept over the last few years or few months, and they will come up with the models, right? Nothing like your YouTube recommendations and Instagram recommendations, whatever. Those can be done with the help of the data. To handle those big data, we are going to use the Pyspark. Generally Spark, okay. Whatever the Spark suppose the Python, that's why it is called as a Pyspark. Okay. So generally Pyspark will run on the cluster. Cluster is nothing but a engine. Okay, like a CPU, a giant CPU. Okay. It will distribute the works among the smaller CPUs and get the job done in less time. Okay. So to develop this application, we have some of the prerequisites. Okay. One is have the Pycharm. Second one, install the Spark. Third one, Hadoop. Okay. Last but not least, Pyspark basics. Okay. So in this video, I'm not going to deal with how to install Spark and how to install Hadoop. Okay, that is a big headache process, and there are so many videos in the YouTube, and you can go through. Okay, you can follow through anyway. But when you enter into a project, organization will give the laptops and everything will be installed by the uh, IT department. Is okay. You don't need to worry about that. You need to worry about how I can work with those. Okay, so today we are going to developing a Pyspark application, right? So here we are going to deal with, okay, here we are dealing with almost, we have the two files. One is the Parquet file, okay, which consists of around 28K records. Another one we have the CSV file, which almost consists of 13 lakhs records, okay, 13 lakh records. We need to process this data. Process is nothing but cleaning, okay, cleaning the data, and then doing a couple of transformation according to business requirement and get the job done. Okay. So the data sets for this Pocket and CSV file are available in the Kaggle, and don't worry, I will give the link to download the data sets. Okay. So these data sets represents there are pharmaceutical companies are there in USA. Okay, like what in we have Apollo and all is there, right? So like the pharmacy data or about the USA, what are the pharmacy companies are there and their branches and all everything, blah blah blah. Okay, so we need to take those data and we need to process them, right? So to develop this application, okay, we are designed our project in a structured manner. Okay, first of all, we need to create a properties folder. In the properties folders, create a config. In the config, create a login.config file. Okay. Then we have the source folder. Okay. That is the main folder. Inside the source folder, we have the another folder called like OLTP. Okay. And one more OLAP. Okay. So inside OLTP, you have the Pocket file. Inside OLAP, you have the CSV file, right? And then we will create a driver file, driver.py, which is going to run all the code whatever written in other files. And we have the ingest file. This file is used to read the data which are in the Pocket and the CSV files, right? Then we have the Spark object file. Okay, Spark object file. There we are going to return the Spark session. Okay, Spark session related code. And then we have the here we are going to declare the variables, environmental variables, to make our application dynamic. Okay, so that it can run in any kind of environment, maybe in development, maybe in production, without much change in the code. Okay. What next? We need to create a data processing file to clean the data, and we have the data loading. Okay, which is going to deal with loading. I mean, not data loading, data transform, which are going to deal with the transformations. Okay, so these are the major files we are going to develop for this part of the application. Okay, remember here I am not using any kind of cluster. For the development I am using my local cluster. Then after we are going to keep the transform data in the cloud. Keep the transform data into the cloud. Okay, so this is the application. This is what the application outline we are going to develop. Okay, now so without delay, let's move into the development. So this, it looks like this. Okay, like properties, staging they given. You can give any name, whatever you want. Okay, and this is the dimension city folder, nothing but a OLTP, and you can have the Pocket file, and this is the fact folder, and you can I rename it as OLAP, and you have some of the files, CSV files over there. Okay, and these are the files we are going to write a code. Okay, and we are making this application dynamic in no sense. Here you can observe the dimension city folder is there. It doesn't matter how many files are present in the city, I mean in a dimension city folder, our application has to read all those files. If you have the 10 Pocket files, you have to our application has to read the 10 Pocket files simultaneously. Similarly, it comes to fact, there are 10 to 12 CSV files are there. our application has to read the dynamically with the help of only single user defined function. Okay, so let's begin then. Open Pycharm, click on File, go to New Project, rename it as Python Project 7 YouTube. Okay, click on New Window. Okay, remove this main file. We no need this file. Okay, so we have to add a root content of the Spark. So initially I have the Spark in my local system. Okay, now I need to configure the Spark with our project. For that one, go to settings, go to project structure, click here. Just wait a moment. Still it is loading. Yeah, fine. Add a root content. Okay. Entire my Spark setup is in this folder, Spark_L. Okay. And then I will select the Python. Click on OK. Apply. Okay. Right. You will observe like this. Python and all. Okay. Now create a file. Sweet. Okay. Create a new Python file. Name it as driver. Okay. It is asking for install the requirement py4j. Click on install. Okay. Yeah, it is still installing. Yeah, it's installed successfully. So let's define a dummy method here. No need of dummy method. Okay, we can directly move on. Driver.py and create a project folder directory. Name it as properties. Inside properties, create another directory with the configuration. Right. Okay. Now create a folder. Name it as source. Create another subfolder in the source with the OLTP. Another one OLAP. Okay. Now, yeah. So whenever it comes to Spark, the major key role of Spark is nothing but creating a Spark object. Okay. So we will do that one first of all. Okay. Let me define some method called df.main. Okay. Print a dummy value. I am in the main. Okay. And define the main. Okay. Now, first of all, we need to define the environmental variables. Okay. Those environmental variables going to make our application dynamic. Okay. And going to affect the behavior of the programming. Okay. In those environmental variables, generally what you are going to do means, generally we have the three environments when you're talking at high level: development, production, and testing. If you create an environmental variables file so that it make our process very easy, you can go to whenever you push the code to the testing. Okay, there in the environmental variable, you can change it from the dev to testing, and then you can run it on the cluster like that. Okay, it make our process very simple. It will create like a framework. It acts like a framework. Okay, we are going to define those things. So create a Python file with get env variables. Okay, let us import the OS. Fine. Now we are going to define a couple of environmental variables. Just wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Fine. So we are working in current project Python project 7 YouTube, right? To get those environment, I mean, which environment I am working. There are a couple of options out there, directory, something, commands out there. Okay. So let's define the environmental variable first. OS dot environ. Okay. envn. Anything is fine. So I am working in a development environment. Let us say dev os dot environ. So we are talking about the CSV file, dealing the CSV files, right? Whenever with the Spark, you have to read the CSV files, means you need to have the headers and info scheme. Right now, I am define the environment in the environmental itself. Okay, header equal to true source dot environ. Also, we have the info schema when we are talking about the CSV, right? Info schema equal to, okay. Then we have to set these variables. Okay, header equal to os dot environ header info schema os dot environ schema. envn, I mean environmental, which environmental you're working. Os dot environ envn. Okay. Then when we are creating the Spark object, you are going to mention the app name, right? Here also I am defining the app name. App name, let us say YouTube Pyspark. That's fine. Now to get the current port, I mean current port of this, I mean port. Okay, sorry. To get the current part of the project where we are working, okay, you have to use the os dot get current directory. Okay, let us say, let us print that one. Os dot get cwd. Okay, this is the part current directory part you are working, right? So I make it a variable with the current part. So get cwd, and now we created a folder, right? Source folder. Inside the source folder, we have the OLTP and OLAP. Now we are going to give the path of this folder. Okay. Suppose we have the OLAP. Here we are defining the OLAP path and OLTP path. Okay. Let us say source OLAP. Okay. Source OLAP. Current environment plus, okay, slash. It is in the source folder, right? Source, again backward slash OLAP. Okay. Next one, source OLTP. Similarly, current plus source OLTP. Okay. So we are done with the environmental variables, and let us see how we are going, how this environment, how we can use this environmental variables in the driver. Let's import that get environmental variables file. Import get environmental variables. Then print. Let us rename it as GAV dot header. Okay, and we are expecting it is going to return a true. Why? Because we define the value, right? Yeah, true. Similarly, you can get print GAV dot src OLAP. Okay. Yeah, we got the part of this OLAP. Okay. No, fine. Okay. Now let us define the Spark session. Okay. Create a file with the create Spark. So let us import the session, Spark session. Spark session is like a entry key for entering into the Spark environment. Okay. From Pyspark.sql import Spark session. So here we no need of context. Okay. But because we are mostly dealing with the data frames, let's define a function. Okay. In that function, we are going to return the code for creating the Spark object. Okay. Just wait a moment. Once after creating the Spark object, we are going to validate the Spark object. Either the Spark object, Spark session you created is working fine or not. We have to validate that one. Okay. That is also one of the important thing. Okay, let's begin then. Df get the Spark object. Okay. And give the variables. We are going to see forward. Well, like I said, right, you can observe this one, this query before this. This is the code to create the Spark object. Spark is equal to Spark session dot builder dot master. This master represents the cluster where you are running. As part of now, I am running in my local system. That my local system is my cluster. Okay. And also in the get environmental variables, you mentioned envn. Envn is nothing but an environment. I am working in a development environment. So here I am going to define like, if my code is running in a development environment, then use the master cluster. If my code is running in a production environment, use the yarn cluster. Okay. So those are defined in the envn, I mean get environmental variable file. Later on, we have the app name. Okay. This app name also defined in the get environmental variables or variables file. We have to use those things. Okay. Let's begin. Df get Spark object. We need to pass the variables envn, comma, app name. So I am going to say like if envn equals to dev, then master equal to local. Okay. Else master equal to yeah. Okay. Let's say Spark equal to Spark session dot builder dot master, and you have to pass the master here dot app name okay dot get out create. Okay. Then you have to return this Spark object. So let me put this code in try and exception block. Later on we will use the loggers. Okay. Except exception. Yeah, that's fine. Return. Go to the driver. Okay. Now from create object import. What was the meta name we used? Get Spark, right? Get Spark object. Okay. Now let us say Spark equal to get Spark object, and we have to pass the envn and the app name, right? Those are from the get environmental variables. Okay. Gav dot envn, comma gav dot app name. Print. You can mention anything. Object created. Okay. Run it. Yeah, our object is created. Okay. Now we are going to add the loggers, and those loggers are nothing but we have the create Spark is right, and then we have the validate is there. So for each and every file, the logger should have to be different. If when it comes to create Spark.py, the log should be different. When it comes to validate.py, the log should be different. When it comes to data processing, the log should be different. And the entire logs for the root should be different. Different is not when we are going to change the level, and we are going to write the loggers into the file. Okay, instead of printing it in the console. Right. So before that, we are going to create another file to evaluate the Spark. Okay. Yeah, Spark object created just for the validation purpose, either it's working or not. Okay. Validate is fine. Okay, let's validate. So you can validate by using the RDDs, or simply you can use the spark.sql, select the current date. Okay, if you got the date, then you can say like the Spark object what you created has been validated. Okay, if let's say get the current date. Okay, pause the parameter called Spark, put it in a drive, drive and class Spark. Okay. Let's take output equal to spark.sql. Select current date. Okay, current underscore date, and you have to print this one. Let's say validating Spark object. Yeah. Current. Output dot. If you just put the output, you won't get the date. Let me show you that one also. Okay. Accept exceptions. Scroll down from validate input. So what's the name we use to get current date? Okay. Let's say now get Spark object, get current date. Okay. Get current date and pause the Spark object. Okay. Let's run it. So we'll use the loggers to make our application looks like more beautiful. Loggers are nothing but just like a print statements which are useful to handle the uh, so we are going to add the loggers, and loggers are helpful at the time of debugging and all. Okay, so what is going to say can only concat the str, not the data frame. Okay, so it is a data frame and you need to convert into a string. Let's run it again and check what's going to be happen. Yeah, you did not got the date. You just got the current date and date, but you did not got the output. Why? Because you need to add the collect. Okay, to collect the value. Okay, let's rerun this again. Yeah, we got the today's date. Okay, now we can say the Spark object also validated successfully. Now it's time to add the loggers. To add the loggers, open the properties, go to configuration folder, add a new file called login.config. Okay, login.config. So the purpose of creating the loggers in a separate file, so that we can make sure each and every file has a different loggers and all. Okay, and it's like a framework. So let's define loggers. is equal to root is nothing but a root level. I mean entire project level. Okay. And we have to specify the create Spark file also. And validate. Okay. Then define the handlers. Handlers, or there are email handlers, or there console handlers, or there are file handlers, or there. So we are using the console and file. Okay, for root level logs, we are going to use it in the console. For the create Spark object and validate Spark data processing. Okay, these logs are going to be handled in the file. Okay, let's say handlers is equal to console handler. Okay, file handler. Okay, then define the formatter. Formatter represents the date, time, level, names, and all. Okay, formatters is equal to sample format. Okay. Be careful with the spellings. If you spell wrong, you are going to encounter with errors. Right? We define the formatter, and we define the handlers, and we define the loggers. Now we have to define the associate logs. Associate logs are nothing but, okay, you define the log level debug. To which file I need to associate. Right? Those things we are going to do. Let's say logger root. Okay. And I am going to several at entire project level. The level should be the debug. You know it, right? Log level debug, info, warning, error. Okay. If you mention the level debug, you can print the info, warning, and error message. If you mention the level info, you can only print the warning and error. Okay, you cannot print the debug informations, debug messages. Okay. If you mention the level warning, you can print the only warning and error messages. Nothing info out there. Spark, you will use the warning as a default level. Okay. Okay. We use the warning level at the time of creating the Spark object. Okay. We are used here and there. Okay. But for the entire project, I mean root level, we are going to use the level debug and mention the handlers. I'm going to use the console and file handler too. Okay. You can also specify only console handler. That's fine. Next, define specific loggers for the ingest file also. We did not return the ingest, right? Okay. Let's go with create object. Create file. Okay. You can define the level info. Handlers. I want to use it only file handler for this one. And also use the call name. Call name is the create Spark. Okay. So call name is helpful to identify the loggers associated with the particular file. Okay, we have the function called get logger. Okay, if you use the get logger and when create Spark, then the Python application will understand. Okay, we have to come from the logger create Spark. Okay, and get the job done. Next one is the propagate. Propagate equal to 0. Propagate equal to 0 is nothing but we are expecting to print a single sentence only. Okay, not double or triple. Suppose if you say login.info, hi, this is Spark. Okay, when you run the application, you may sometimes encounter the same hi, this is Spark 2 times. So I don't want to print those statements like those. I want to print only single statement at a time. Okay, no duplicates. Then you have to use the propagate equal to 0. Okay. Similarly, what was the other file? Validate, right? Logger validate. For the validation, I'm going to use the level warning, nothing but warn, handlers, file handler, call name, validate, propagate equal to 0. Okay. Then mention the properties for the console and file handler. Okay. Handler, console handler, class equal to stream handler. Okay. Level equal to debug. Okay. Please remember the level you mentioned in the console handler and the level you mentioned at the root level should be the same. Okay. On the formatter, not formatters, formatter only. Okay. Sample formatter we define. Okay. And the arguments, you have to pass the arguments. And I want to print it in a system as a standard output. Next, define for the file handler class equal to login dot file handler. Okay. Then level basic level equal to debug. Okay. Even though if you don't print the debug messages, it will going to take in consideration. Okay. Formatter equal to sample formatter, and then arguments. Here I am going to say application dot log. This is the file name. Okay. This is the file name. Then define the formatter. Formatter is nothing but the format of the message what I have to print it at the console as well as the file. Okay. This format equal to percentage sc time. Going to represent the time. Okay. Then percentage name. It is going to represent the name of the file. Okay. And then level name. Level name. Which are level name defines the info or debug or warning, and then the message. Okay. Any message, it may be error message or the normal message. Okay. That's good. Right. Go to driver. Let's import login. Also import login.config. Okay. And we are going to use the login.config file. Okay. Login.config.file config. Okay. And pass the path. Okay. Where your login.config file has been defined. Okay. Properties slash configuration slash login.config. Okay. So replace the print statement with the logins. So driver is nothing but the entire root level. So for the root level, its level is debug. Okay. So that if you print the info, it is going to take. If you print the warning, it is going to take. If you print the error, it is also going to take into consideration. Login.info, let's say I am the main method. Okay. Yeah. login.info, calling the Spark object. Login.info. Next thing, login.info, validating Spark object. Login.info, application. Okay. Now keep this sentence in the try catch block also. Exception as exp, login dot error, and error me please get the str of exp. Okay, now it's good to go. Okay, similarly, you need to define the loggers in the different files. Okay, for the root level, I did not define it, right? Login dot basic config. Okay, here you need to define the level equal to debug. Okay, even though if you did not mention, nothing to worry about it. No need to mention. Why? Because in the file itself we define it. Yeah. Copy this. Go to validate. Import login.config. Pass it. Okay. Let's define loggers equal to. Okay. This is validate, right? And we call a call name equal to validate here. Okay. Login dot get logger. What was that? Validate. Right. Loggers dot. What was the level I mentioned in the validate? Warning level. Okay. Loggers dot warning dot the get current date method. Okay. Loggers dot warning. Loggers dot error. Error. Load in validity. Okay. Now I want to use the rise exception concept. Okay. Whatever the exception occurred in the validate file, I want to debug it in a driver level. Okay. For that one, I am going to use the rise. Else, if there are no errors, then print loggers dot warning validation done. Let's say go forward. Okay. It's fine. So if you observe here, process finished with exit code 0. Even though if you have the errors, suppose you will get the process finished with exit code 0. And I want to get like process finished with exit code 1. Then only it is going to say our application has encountered with the errors. Okay. For that one, I'm going to use the what was format file. Okay, fine. I'm going to use the sys.exit with the 1. Okay. Imports is also done. Oh no, where am I? Validate successfully done. Reformat the file. Just wait a minute. Yeah, sorry. Okay, now let's move into the create Spark object. Let's import login.config. Okay, now logger equal to login.get logger. Okay, and pass the name create Spark that was given at the time of call name, right? Logger.info. I use the not login, loggers, sorry. Logger.info. Logger.info. Get Spark. Spark. Okay. Logger info. Format. Okay. Now here also I'm going to use the rise exception concept itself. Logger.error and error occurred. Get Spark object. Str of AXP. Okay. And I want to rise it. Else logger.info Spark object created. Okay. And return the statement in after the else condition. Okay. Now looking fine. Go to driver. Here remove this one. Validating Spark object. Okay. Run the driver file. You can observe the logs, right? At root level. Okay. Right. So as you can see, the root level logs only printed at the console. What about the logs in validate and create Spark? There we use this file handler. Okay. You can observe it here, right? We use the handlers file handler. For the root, we use the console and file handler. Okay. This is the file application.log file created. Okay. You can see validation done, go forward, and you can observe the date. Okay, application done like this, right? What was this? Next concept, next major important thing is we are going to read the, we are going to load the files. Okay. Before that, I would like to tell about the few important technique. Not the technique. So we have the source folder, right? Inside the source, we have the OLTP and OLAP. Okay. I'm going to pass the data over there. Of the USCT. Copy this in Pycharm projects. Pycharm projects on YouTube. Go to source. This is the OLAP data. Paste it down here. Okay. Let's print whatever the files. We have to check what are the files presented in the source OLAP. Okay. For that one, we have to use the os dot list directory gav dot src olap. Okay. Let's run it. Okay, we got the file. Okay, we got the file, whatever presented in the OLTP. Okay. So there may be chance you may encounter 10 to 12, 10 to 50 files. Okay. For that one, I need to iterate everything. Okay. I want to iterate that folder. I want to get the details of the files. Okay. So here we are using for each. Okay. For file in os dot list directory and gav dot src olap print file in file is okay. And now we are going to say if the file is the Pocket file. Before that, we are going to get the let's print the file. Okay, let's print it again. So once after printing a file, we are going to create the absolute path for that file. Okay, then after we are going to say if the file extension ends with the Pocket, you have to there is no need of using the header and info schema. At the file end with the CSV, you have to use the header and the info schema concept. Okay, so that we are making that one into a dynamic. Okay, right. You got the file name, you got it, US cities dimension dot pocket, but you did not got the absolute path. Okay, if you got the absolute path only, then you can you can use it in the load in the file and all. Okay, so to get the absolute path, let us say file directory equal to file directory equal to gav dot src olap. Okay, plus single in the single quotation is to forward slashes. Okay, plus file. Okay, let's print the file directory. Yeah, we got this path. Okay, this is the file directory. Now we are going to say if file, okay, ends with, we have the dot parquet is there, right? Ends with the parquet. Then you have to say the file format equal to parquet, and header equal to NA. Okay, for parquet we don't have any headers and all. For schema, NA. Elif file dot ends with the CSV. Then the file format equal to CSV. The CSV we have to use the header concept, right? Header equal to, so we define the header value in the get environmental variables. You have to use that one. Okay. And we have the infer schema, DAV dot infer schema. That's fine. And let's print the login dot info reading file cheese of dot format, file format. Okay, it is of file format. Okay, let's add a global statement, but because we are going to use this everywhere, right? Throughout the class, not inside of the method. Okay, that's why we are defining it as a global. That's the advantage of using the IDs in recent days. Okay, if you stuck somewhere and it is going to give us some hints, if you follow those hints, we can achieve it, right? So let's create a file which is called as a ingest. Okay, there we are going to define a method to read the, to load the files. Okay, so here we are going to define a function, df load file, something like that. Okay, and then we are going to use this ingest concept. We are going to use this ingest file in the driver.py file and get the job. And for the ingest also, we have to use the different logs. Okay, most probably I'm going to assign level called warning. Let us say load files, and we have to pass the parameter like Spark. Okay, why means, so we have there is a code, right? When you are dealing with the CSV, okay, let's say spark dot read dot format, and you have to mention either CSV or whatever, and then option header equal to true, and then option, or you can use the load path. Okay, this is the way you are going to read it, right? So I'm going to pass those. Spark is completed, and next one is the format, right? And we can pass the file directory also. This file directory used to load. Okay, see, then what happened? It doesn't matter how many files are there in a Parquet. I'm not going to mention the file format of the file manually. Okay, my application going to take the dynamical, and the file format, and the header, and then infer schema. Okay, then use synthetic clash. Go to loggers. We are going to define the custom loggers. Okay, for this one ingest file. Okay, I am going to use the file handler itself for this one, and the call name is the ingest. Okay, now import those things. Import login.config, go to driver, copy this, use this in the ingest, and then logger equal to login.get logger ingest. Okay, let's print logger.warning. Okay, load files. Stop there. Okay, now here also we have to write if the file format is equal to Parquet, then we have to say df is equal to spark dot read dot format and then load. If the file format equal to CSV, you have to create data frame. Okay, like that. If file format equal to Parquet, then you have to say df equal to spark dot read dot format. Okay, here the format and remember the file format. Okay, and then load. Here you need to pass the path of the file, right? That is nothing but which is present in the file directory. Okay, this is the file directory. Okay, now elif file format equal to CSV, then data frame equal to pop dot read dot format file format. Okay, dot option header equal to header. Okay, so this header and info schema values we are going to get it from the get environmental variables. Okay, at the time of starting you may confuse why we are using these and these, then moving forward you are going to understand. Okay, and the time comes now you will understand it. Okay, why we define the environmental variables and then for schema. Okay, dot load file directory. Okay, and exception as e logger dot error and error of code at load files str rise it else. Okay, logger dot warning data frame created successfully. Which is so format equal to file format. Okay, and use the return statement. Return pf. Okay, now go to driver file. From ingest import load files. Okay. Now you have to call it here. Let's say df city equal to load files. Spark equal to spark. Okay. And then what was the parameters we given there? File directory is there, right? File directory equal to file directory, and then file format equal to file format, and then header equal to header, and then input schema equal to input schema. Okay. If you scroll over the cursor over there, add a global statement, add a global statement, add a global statement. Okay. Right. So next, go to, I mean, in the ingest itself, you can define. Okay. Let's define another method. Okay. To display the data frame. Okay. In the ingest file itself. Let us say display data frame. Pass the parameter with the data frame. You can choose df show equal to df dot show. Okay. And then return df show. And you can also pause df name. Okay. Df name is nothing but data frame name. Okay. And then you have to use that one. Display df. Display df city comma df underscore city. Okay. Say login.info display in the data frame df city. Okay. Now run this. So once after reading the Parquet file, we need to validate that one. Okay. See, right, application has been done and it is showing the data. Okay. City and all. Read in the file format Parquet and displaying the data frame. Right. Everything is fine. And we need to validate it. Now for the validation, you can use the count. Okay. Just for the sake. Okay. But also you can define it, validate. Okay. Don't worry. Or else in the ingest, let's say df count was the data frame and the data frame name. Okay. So in the try, let's use the logger dot, I mean, I use the warning level, right, for the ingest. Yeah, warning itself. Warning, let's say here to count the records format, and you have to mention df name. Okay. and then so in Pyspark we have the function called count, right? And I'm using the same thing, df dot count. Except exception and CXP. You can simply write the rise. Okay, everything will handle at the driver level itself. Okay. Else log or stored. Let's print warning. Number of records present in the dot format. So number of records present in the data frame, comma, and the count is the DFC. Okay, and return DFC. Okay, it is written in the ingest, right? Use that one, df count. Login.info, validating the data frame. Also df count, right? Df count, and you have to pass the df city and df city. Okay, now let's run the program. So we'll stop up to here, and it will take some time to run. Okay, so far we created a driver file, and in a driver file we written a code to run all the methods which are written in a different files. Okay, and we created an ingest file to read the data dynamically. Okay, and then we created a Spark object in a create spark.file, and we define some of the environmental variables, and you understand it, right? What is the use of environmental variables? Okay, you can observe in the loading files header. I did not pass header equal to true. Okay, I just simply use the header. Okay, these header values define in the get environmental variables, and then we validated the Spark object, and we validated the data frame, and we return the logs for different files. Okay, different logs for the different files into the application.log file. Okay, let us check how many records we got it. Is that, yeah, number of records in the data frame or 28,000. Okay, oh, it is validated successfully. Yeah, we just got it with the OLAP file. Okay, in the next video we are going to discuss with the OLTP file. Okay, or else we can proceed that one. Okay, we can complete it a pod. So now we'll deal with the OLTP. Okay. I have the file previously. Don't worry, I will share the links to download the datasets. I downloaded it from the Kaggle itself. Okay, now go to Pycharm. Okay, write the same code. Copy the same code, paste it over here, and rename it to file2. And the port is not src OLAP. Now it's time to src OLTP. Okay, and it's file2, and you have to pass it src OLTP. Okay, file to file to file to. Okay. Now we need to read another data frame. Okay, for this OLTP files. Let's define those things also. DF OLTP or DF fact, any name you want. Okay. DF fact. Same, you can copy it. Copy. Yeah. Everything is okay. Now you can copy these two things also. These four. DF fact. DF fact. DF fact. DF fact. DF fact. Okay, that is the advantage of writing in a function. Okay, I just reuse this one, right? Now, if I run this application, okay. So entirely file reading has been written in a ingest file, okay, with a function called load files. And we use the parameters Spark, file directory, file format, header, and info schema. And the validation, something on here. Now let's test it out here. Keyword argument header. Option got unexpected. Option got unexpected. I think that's not the case. Where do you where it is uploaded? The CSV only. Go this reformat the file. I think everything is fine. Header. Just rerun it once. Same. Okay. I think it's better to use the SRC OLTP. This one. Okay. reformat the file. Okay, now run it. Hoping this time it will run successfully. While reading the spoke object. Okay, again got the error. What was the error? I think Parquet read successfully. Which one this is? Parquet got successfully read. I think is receiving data set. What is saying? Unexpected keyword argument header. Header should be there. But why? Okay, we'll discuss about this error in the next session. Okay, it's taking too long, right? In between, you can think about it. Why it is? Why it's getting the error? Okay. Now we successfully read the Parquet file. Now it's time to look it into the CSVs. Okay. I don't know why it's getting error. Let me recheck. Okay, and we'll go to the environment variables and we'll recheck it. Okay. That's it. That's it from today's session. Okay. We will cover the next parts in the next session. Okay. Thank you.